On April 9th, 2022, I traveled to Reno, Nevada to see Chris Rock do stand-up on his Ego Death Tour 2022. This was less than 2 weeks since the infamous slap heard around the world by Will Smith. So how did it go? Well, I'm going to talk about it. Before we get started, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You like that slap sound effect? Oh. As if I needed another reason to hate Will Smith. I've said for the longest time that he's the worst rapper ever. Just look at the horrible songs, Wild Wild West, Going to Miami, Bienvenido a Miami. Oh god, I seriously have goosebumps just doing that. Men in Black, Getting Jiggy with It, etc., etc. You know, I admit I had his first album on cassette because I liked Parents Just Don't Understand, but I was just a kid. I don't like any of the movies he's been in. Suicide Squad is the only watchable one for me. I've also said for years that Chris Rock is my favorite comedian of all time. They say Jada had alopecia. I've had that, and I studied her head closely. I didn't see any missing patches that would suggest she had alopecia. Take Chris Rock out of the picture. If The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, would have made that same joke, I guarantee Will Smith would have sat there like the cuck he is. What I hated the most was that smug look on his face when he was heading back to his table. He got a standing ovation a little while later after winning an Oscar. Sickening. Now he's banned from the Oscars for 10 years. Good. He should have been arrested. Okay, so I started my hour-and-a-half drive to Reno from Sacramento. It's been a few years since I've been there. Forgot how pretty of a drive it was. There was still some snow on the side of the road in some places. Is it common knowledge about the Donner Party? This has nothing to do with anything, but I never knew about it until I moved to California. Is it something they teach? You know, the Donner Party, where they got stuck in the past and they had to resort to cannibalism and eating rocks and stuff. I don't know, just curious. So I made it to Reno. It was at the Silver Legacy. Last time I was there, I saw the band The Offspring. Had to get the little Reno sign, of course. Looking like a real tourist. He was doing 2 shows that night, one at 7 and one at 10. I had tickets for the 10 o'clock show. Had a little time to kill, so why not lose a little money? How fun. They were very adamant that no cell phones, smartwatches, cameras, or any kind of recording devices were going to be allowed. So we had to use this little case called a yonder. I guess you put it in, it locks, and then you can't open it until you leave after the show's over and you're in the lobby. And that's fine, I understand. He doesn't want people hearing any new material without paying for it. That's what the pouch looked like. The opening comedian was named Rick Ingram. I guess one could call him a insult comic, because that's pretty much what he did for the 20 minutes or so he was on stage. He would just go through the crowd and pick people out and mess with them, mostly about race. And then somehow, like, he'd say something disparaging, and then the crowd would go, ooh, and then he would just turn it around like the audience was the one who were racist. It was really cool. I loved him. I'm gonna go see him anytime I can. And finally, Chris Rock came out to a standing ovation. Like I said, he is my number 1 favorite comedian of all time. He's hilarious. He first came into my radar in 1988 in the great movie I'm Gonna Get You, Sucka. I believe it was his first speaking role, where he just wanted one rib. I loved it. He cemented his spot as my favorite after I saw Bring the Pain. Oh my goodness. This man is not afraid to say anything about anyone. His jokes about O.J. Simpson and race and relationships between men and women, oh my gosh, they don't get any better than that. I paid around $90 for my ticket, and once the slap happened, I could have sold it for up to $700, like I saw some going for on StubHub, but I had to see him. He hasn't publicly talked about the incident that happened with Will Smith, and I didn't expect it to be any different this night. He did come out and say that he's alright. He made it a point that he wanted to stick to what he had originally written for the set, so after that we moved on to all kinds of things. He started making fun of Reno, like the kind of people who live in Reno, and he was talking about politics a little bit, and I could tell he lost some of the crowd when he said certain things about certain politicians or ex-politicians, but he moved on. He started talking about stuff like his daughter and his divorce and what it was like being a parent, stuff like that. And he talked a little bit what it's like to be 57 years old and single and dating at 57. There is no way I would have guessed he was 57 years old. He showed some text messages from some crazy chick, and the crowd loved that. I'd say between him and the opening comic, they were on stage for about an hour and a half, and during that time, I only wasn't laughing for 5 minutes of that. So it was just an amazing night. It was so funny. Can't even tell you how much I loved it. He's still my favorite comedian, and my number 2 favorite comedian is Andrew Dice Clay, in case you were wondering. I'm wondering who you think is the best comedian of all time. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to see what you have to say about that one. Well, that's going to wrap up this video. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.